Hello everyone and welcome to the stream. This is Otaku Showboat. Today is Sunday, January 19th, 2020. If you're watching the VOD on YouTube, don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you are so inclined, head on over to twitch.tv/Otaku Showboat to leave a follow to be notified when I go live Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays from 10 a.m. to approximately 1 p.m. US Eastern Time. You can do all of the social stuff through the links in the description below the video. You can support Pyanodon at patreon.com/Pyanodon and myself at patreon.com/OtakuShibut. And today is PyAL Life. After all that, today is the full version that Pyanodon has very, very graciously provided me a copy of. So let's get straight to it. Let's get straight into the game, so we can have a look at all of the new stuff that is coming with PyAL Life. Now, at this point, all I have really done... Please go away. All I have really done is made sure that it loads a game. That's about it. So I was provided with the most recent working copy, which, along with copies of the other PySuite modules that have been updated drastically, shall we say? Because there's been a few changes outside of just PyAL Life being added to everything, and that required also having updates to a number of mods to make sure that everything works. So it's just I got a zip file of all of the necessary mods to make it function properly. The good news is that outside of that, just making sure that I have all of the stuff that was provided to me added, it works with everything else that I also have that I can tell. At least it doesn't cause a crash on load. It at the very least, it doesn't crash on load for the various new updates. So here we go. We have PyAL Life. We also have separated graphics for each of the PySuite modules, for the exception of PyIndustry. That is very much appreciated. Yes, here we go. Pyanodon in the chat. Here we go. It's very much appreciated. We've got separated graphics now for each of the modules of the PySuite. This means that every time there's a change in the code and an update is pushed, you no longer have to re-download all of the graphics along with the changes to the code. So this will make the updates go a lot faster. Yeah, updates will go a lot faster for people and save on the bandwidth at the very least. So because people have bandwidth limitations, and if you update, say, PyAL Life 3 or 4 times in a day, that might cause problems if you have all of the graphics with it as well. So now I have to be careful, because now I have to make sure not to do updates for a little bit, specifically to RSO, because King Arthur was very, very kind and also added in a config file for PyAL Life for RSO, and that is working. That is very much working as intended. So the actual mod list for this, not much different from the On the Rails stream. There's a couple of things turned off, and I don't think anything has been turned on by comparison. I'll have to go through and actually make the list up of what we're using here. But I think that this first playthrough is going to be called Pydew Valley for very obvious reasons. That is what we're going to call this playthrough. This playthrough will be called Pydew Valley. Huzzah. So, we're going to start a brand new game with alien life, and of course, there needs to be a few changes made to the starting settings. I am using RSO, and I need to see what the actual mod settings are for RSO before we get too far into it. Because if you change the startup settings, it's just going to reset the game and reset all the sliders at the game's start. So we've got Bob's modules. That's one of the main things for this. Otherwise, I think it's just going to be map settings that we change. I don't think I have any startup settings that I need to change for this. Yeah, I think we're good there. So map settings for RSO. Size of generation region. If I'm not mistaken, that's matching the previous. I think normally this is... What's this default to? It doesn't actually tell me what this defaults to on hover for these inserts, but I think I'm gonna go with this. Resource chance 0.6. We'll decrease that a little bit. Get a little bit more space between stuff. Confirm that, and then let's go through and all the rocks. I'm actually going to throw the frequency down a bit on the rocks. It spawns way too many by default, and I don't know if this gets completely overridden by RSO or not on this particular slider, but all of these rocks have a bit too much, except the sulfur, except the salt. Big ancient remains we'll need a bit more of. Other than that, I think it's good. Yeah, just not the salt and not the sulfur. And in fact, richness will be maxed. Again, I don't know how RSO interacts with the vanilla sliders here. I don't think size necessarily matters outside of for salt and sulfur. This influences how many nodes you get. Is this a PyAL game? Yes, it is. We've got alien life, and how can I show you that we have PyAlien life in this? Because there should be a brand new resource in this list called the Bio Reserve. Right here, this one. The Bio Reserve is a brand new resource. We will make sure that that one is there. Unsure how large it needs to be, but I'll kick that to 150 just in case. As for normal resource patch size, yeah, get the patch size. We'll go 300% at most for some of this stuff that I know I need a lot of. We'll go bigger on the crystal mine patches. Definitely max the molybdenum. Don't need that much neo. That can stay about the same. Don't need those to be huge patches considering the infrastructure needed to actually process neobium. Oil sands, just like kill completely. But we'll have minimal amounts of oil sands. Aluminium can basically stay the same. That's not as used anymore. In particular, chromium can get a bit higher on size. Lead needs to be huge. Nickel needs to be huge. Quartz mines need to be gigantic. Tin can be there. Titanium can be larger. Doesn't need to be as large though. Zinc. Yeah, zinc can be big. Granted, it'll need iron. I think that'll be fine for now. Phosphate. rocks, would like as many as possible in those patches, as dense as possible in those patches. Guess I can just max density sliders here. Won't matter too much, I don't think, especially with RSO. Yeah, the reserves all can be max. The reserves and the rocks will cap at 1 billion units each, so once that happens, it won't matter how much higher it could potentially be. Rare earth bolides, yes, as many of those as possible. You can't get rare earth any other way, unless that's been changed with alien life, which I hope so. We shall see. Rock coal doesn't matter. Get rid of that as much as possible. I'd rather have other things besides rock coal existing. Regolites, don't need as many of them, but I do need some. We need helium, some helium. Uranium. Uranium I'm going to leave default because by the time you really do need uranium, you have access to the uranium rocks. And they are a much better way of getting uranium, I think, through the rocks. The pipes, definitely as many of those as possible. We'll keep regular frequency on those. Crude oil, that's the vanilla crude. Make sure that all of this oil has high richness, but we're going to prefer having the small oil patches over anything else. I'll reduce these others a bit with a preference towards small, because RSO likes spawning these relatively evenly in relation to each other, and I would like more smalls and more tar in particular, as big of patches as possible. The vanilla patches can just exist as they are, and that'll be those settings. Water off this time. Water will be completely off this time. And scale large, coverage small. If we do a preview, we can see, oh hey, we've got desert. Oh hey, we've got not as much desert. Yeah, that'll be fine. That will be fine. Enemies off, and I think we're good. Well, you always start with a water patch. You always start with one bit of water, and then nothing else will have water. Yep, always has the starter lake. I'm just trying to decide on the trees. Do I want way more trees at default settings? Yeah, we'll do more trees at default settings because it's gonna be a while. It's gonna be a while. Okay, so that will be that. I will export this string because I'm sure people are going to want this string. And let's hit play and see what happens. Let's see what happens. How much has the game broken by doing that? Welcome to free play. That is big. Okay. It's like, that is lead. Hello, lead. Welcome. Okay, what do I see? Good things thus far. Thus far, good things. Now, I will note that I have starting tar, 4 things of starting salt, and starting small crude oil. This is a good starting location. I would like to see another iron nearby, but yeah, this is good. And we've got more phosphates. right over here on the other side of this nice quartz. Yes, this is a start. This is a start. Definitely a start. So, oh yeah, I added to-do list back. First thing is first, because I'm sure people are very much interested in the changes to science. First thing, clearly, first, is I am going to set up some factories in Hellmod for the sciences. Because these are different. These are very, very different by comparison. Yeah, definitely going to do hot air for that. Thanks. You need that. You. Alright, which one of these is the proper recipe? That one. And then you also are now coming from Coke at this point. So, is that everything? Make sure I get that going. Now, initially, the glass is not going to be from Advanced Foundries. That'll happen a little bit later. A little bit later. And then initial science will be handcrafted. So just bearing all of that in mind. We need pulp mills now. We need a microorganism mine now. We need moss farms now. And I'm just setting these to the Mark 1 variance so that we can get an idea. If I put in 0.25, how many things I'm going to need for this. So just for reference, this is the thing. Oh, I need to do the petri dish line as well. Oh yes, seaweed. Because of course we now need seaweed. That's going to be in its own separate Mark 1 building as well. So, 3 seaweeds, a high pressure furnace, a bunch of regular assemblers, more high pressure furnaces, moss farms, microorganism mines, pulp mills. Forgot to finish the rubber chain. Yes, well, I have, yes, from the latex slab, right. That goes down even more. Formic acid as well, yes, because even more. Saps has its own thing. Seaweed can be updated. And at the bottom, that's how we update that. So sap extractor. As well as destructive distillation columns. Oop. Get the washers, too. Washers. Very nice. Just gonna set these all to Mark 1s. And there we go. I think. Outside of the limestone, which is a base product out of soil extractors, I could get a count on the soil extractors, so let's go ahead and do that. This will give me the soil extractor count for that for 0.25, not necessarily 0.3. I think that's just a display rounded up. Yeah, that's stuff. That's it's a bit of stuff. What I'm doing is I'm telling it to set default at the moment. I don't know if I didn't really need matrix solver. I guess there should be a setting. Where would that be, though? I don't know. I don't know where that would be. References. Not seeing a thing to prefer Mark 1 versions of stuff. There's module priority. Oh hey, it's all of the thingies. The life exists as modules because yes, that's totally the thing. Factorio settings. Let's see, hell mod. Let's see. This per player. Hell mod, number of lanes, default level first. Yes, there we go. Yes, first. That's what we need. Resume. So, the bioreserve is brand new. It has its own separate type of mine that will be needed for it. Let's make sure that I do color. I always forget the number for this. 071171. This is cobalt. I am cobalt. That is my color. I am cobalt. I also started with Tiny Start, so I will have a set of 20 standard Constructobots that will help me with stuff. Is that flower ore, basically? It is a bioreserve. It is a source of much biodiversity. And we shall see how that gets used going forward. So, red science looks a little bit like this now. It is lots of steps. And we can see that 0.25 is about 1.4 copper, 1.4 iron, 0.9 stone, 2.1 coke. So that's more coal. Well, I guess it depends on how you get your coke. 0.6 on the wood, and a bunch of quartz. So this is going to be lots of stuff. Forest ore. And yes, I set to highest values of stuff because I'm lazy. It's all because I'm lazy, you know? Why is this? Oh right, because I haven't set anything here yet. I need to set my stuff here. Yes, those are important things. And that lets me clear what I have in my hand. So if I do Alt-D with a deconstruction planner, I can just hit tap 1-1 to clear what's in my hand. I like this. That will help dramatically. I can fit a lot of crystal mines on that. So crystal mines are like gigantic. That's why I want the area of the patches that use those crystal mines, the borax and the quartz. That's why. It's just they're much bigger, much bigger. This should be giving me coal. That's why I'm doing this, by the way. Is I need the coal. I also need alt mode on. That would be great. That would be fantastic. Oh, hey, a little niobium, too. Right up here. That's fantastic. Ooh, more. Wow, I got a lot of chromium. I have copper, too, but I don't see... Oh, hey, it's Molly. I don't see... Ah, there it is. Like, I don't see iron. There it is. iron with uranium and a little oil sand, a little more tar. Lots of chromium. I'm happy. Oh, and there's a titanium too. Okay, I think I'm good for resources on this map. I'm pretty sure that I'm good for resources on this map. That will go there for now. Where is that iron? There. Now for the, shall we say, long and drawn out part. Because this is a part that hasn't really changed too much. The waiting for the initial resources. This is just the base game being the base game, and we just have to wait for some things to happen. In the meantime, I will get all of this beautiful wood, because something tells me I'm going to want to have as much wood as I can possibly gather, because it's going to take a long time before the red science can be fully automated. A very long time before red science can be fully automated. And it does seem as if we're going to have to build... Still, it won't. It won't. Oh, it's because it pauses. Right. I don't want it paused. It's going to take a while to get any amounts of red science, let alone the automation of red science. So, speaking of which, we do have a new section for alien life where we should have all of the buildings that we need, access to all the buildings that we need. So this is going to require mining of stone and processing into stone bricks first. This is going to need mining of tin and aluminium. Okay. So, to get red science now, before even being able to take any tech, at the very start of the game, you now have to set up mining of aluminium. So that's like the newest big thing, is you now need early aluminium, which is okay because your starting coke production is also going to give you coal gas, and you'll be just taking that excess coal gas and shoving it into aluminium mines. Speaking of aluminium, it's right up here and down there, so I've got two sources of aluminium. And I'm just sitting here gathering a whole bunch of wood with the starting tiny start bots. May as well help them out as best I can. But, you know, we're not just here for all of the intro stuff. If you were a supporter of Pyanodon on Patreon or part of the community Discord, you probably had access to the early version of PyAlien Life that basically let you know that this was a thing that was about to happen with red science. Changes have happened not just to red science. Let's have a look at what's going to be in existence for green science, if the thingy even displays. Give me show hidden. Yes, that helps. And disabled. There we go. Actually, get rid of hidden. Just show me disabled. This gives me access to every recipe so I can actually plan ahead of time. Now, if I can find green science... Oh god, yes, because blue also changed. If I can find green science, and then we'll add another one for blue, because blue also changed. Yes, let's add one. Add one for blue. Not there, there. I always lose where I am on these lists. Blue. I know blue has changed because there's these things, these neuroprocessors and alien sample 2s that are brand new to this. Brand new to this. Nextlit was added relatively recently. There's no circuit 2s here. There's PCBs. There's pieces of circuit 2s here. There's brains. There's brains here. Oh, okay. We'll go down that rabbit hole as soon as we get through the green science. And we've got time, by the way. We've got time to do this. This early process is going to take a little while. Just a little while. So alien sample 1s and lab instruments. So the biosamples are familiar, as is the ground samples. Those are familiar. This is new, biosamples. And it looks like the ground sample stayed the same. This tar to rich clay would be the recipe to use there. The biological samples are bone meal with incubated petri dish, which that's at Red Science. That is one thing that's being used in Red Science as well. So we sort of know that chain already. Relesia seeds from Relesia. Relesia, I think, has been changed. Yeah, Relesia has absolutely been changed. Yeah, it gets... Oh, joy. This'll be fun to figure out. So... Oh, boy. Let's just leave it at Relesia. needing the Relesia, we'll figure out the gaining of the Relesia. Yes, seaweed from seaweed recipe. Bone meal. Of course it is. Okay, bone meal raw fiber. Relesia raw fiber. See, that's the same. You can get bone meal from various things, but the Ulrich recipe remains. But you can slaughter. You can slaughter other things to get bone meal now. Alright. Don't know if that's just a holdover from the existing recipes or if they need to be disabled for the alien life means of getting bone meal. That's just my initial thought there. Rubber is required. Rubber is absolutely required. We have these rubber stoppers for red science that's latex and coal. Well, wouldn't it be nice if, hey, look, latex is now required to make rubber along with carbon black and polybutadiene. Latex is now an ingredient added into stuff. Yes, to the slaughter dome would be the intention to do now. So that would be the recipe that we have access to there. We do need circuit ones. Circuit ones have not changed, as far as I'm aware. The circuits themselves have not been touched, so we don't really need to dig down that rabbit hole. And it looks like the optical sets also haven't changed either. And the equipment chassis hasn't changed. So as far as changes go, oh hey, this totally defaulted to the level 4 of the building for a couple of these. Oh, botanical nursery. That's new. That's new. That's new. Botanical nursery for that. Okay. We're figuring this out. Slowly but surely we're figuring this out. So there's the new stuff there on the green science as far as I can tell. Oh right. These. So this is the bioreserve ore plus a bio container, which is steel, glass, lead, and titanium to give you biosamples. So green science is where you're going to need to mine the bioreserve. That's where you're going to need to mine for the bioreserve. Cool. Now we know. And that will be used for the alien sample 1. So, blue science. What the heck has happened here? I'm going to do a little bit of, the stuff what you're supposed to do. Move this over to copper now. We've got 26 iron plates. The whole point of the early game. And the little bit of added complexity for the pie suite, needing some copper to make another drill. All right, blue science. Yeah, blue science. So neuroprocessors are new, as are alien sample 2s. The others already existed, so I'm not going to dig down those rabbit holes too much. Neuroprocessors. Okay, so that's going to add more optical fibers to the chemical science packs, and it adds an Nextlit matrix. So this is an earlier use of Nextlit matrix than previously, but you do have access to all of these things at green, so that is fine. You make treated wood for circuit 1s. And you need the Nextlit if you are making some of the buildings that you have access to at this point. So, yeah, this is entirely reasonable to have access to and to use going into blue science. It gives you a reason to make Nextlit matrices a little bit earlier. Of course, brains. Brains are going to be a thing. I have no idea exactly what I'm looking at here. We have a vat brain biocomputer, apparently, that will exist. Don't know what for, but it'll exist. Looks like you can extract brains from basically anything in the slaughterhouse. So, yay, slaughter things. We'll leave the brains there for now. Agar, we've seen from as far back as the red science. More biosamples. Circuit 1 item, circuit 1 item, circuit 1 item, circuit 2 item, circuit 2 item, nickel, and vacuum. Yes, brains! Glorious brains! Plastic for the alien sample 2. And alien sample 1! Okay, now we're getting a little bit bigger on scale. So the sample 2 will require sample 1. And glassware, so now we've got another use for glassware that we didn't have previously. So now glassware is both a bit more complex to make, and it's used more than once. So just note these things. Glassware is now used more than once. Alien sample 1 is now used more than once.